The game is called MOBopoly. Upon opening the box, you are transported back into the roaring 1920s to a large metropolitan city that's wide open for a good mob boss. And you're it. You move into your penthouse. Starting with $2,000 and 3 thugs, you begin your rise to the top by seizing control of shady businesses that provide you with cash and power. The game is set up as follows. The board is a map of the city and contains spaces representing businesses, public property, streets, a freeway, subway stations, and the mob boss's penthouse. The board is divided into 6 identical sections. 6 tall pieces, each of a different color, are the mob bosses, and the smaller pieces are the thugs. A set of white cards contain instructions which must be followed immediately every time a player rolls an odd number on the dice. A set of red cards contain instructions which can be delayed or sold to another player. These cards are always good for the player that buys them or wins them. To play, each player chooses one of 6 sections of the city and places his or her mob boss in the penthouse. That's the triangular property just above the spaces marked with an S. The property in this section of town where a player begins does not belong to him or her, although they may think it does. Each player may seize control or purchase property anywhere in the city. Each player also gets 3 thugs of his or her respective color. One is placed in each of the 3 street spaces marked S next to your mob boss's penthouse. Each player rolls the dice. The player with the highest total plays first. Roll the dice. If the total of the dice is an odd number, draw a white card, read the card aloud, and act upon it immediately. Return the card to the bottom of the white card deck. If you roll doubles, draw a red card. Read the card silently to yourself. You may act upon it immediately, or you may save it and act upon it at some later turn. There is no limit to how many thugs you may employ. For each additional thug, you pay $100 to the bank. Each thug is then placed in your employment agency and is available for immediate action. You may purchase up to 3 additional red cards on each turn from the bank. You may now move your pieces the number of moves shown on the dice. Moving any piece 1 space is considered a move. You may purchase additional moves for $100 each. At the end of your turn, you may call for an assassination attempt. Pieces can move along the streets from any space to any adjacent space, but not diagonally. Only 1 piece can occupy a street space at a time. No other piece can move through an occupied street space or stop there. Thus, for example, 2 pieces side by side can block a street. The exception is that a mob boss may move through his own thugs, but cannot stop on the same street space. A piece can move from a street space to an adjacent property, or from any property to an adjacent unoccupied street space. A piece cannot move directly from one property to an adjacent property. It must go out of the property and by way of the street. The exception is 2 or more pieces may simultaneously occupy freeway spaces and properties and subway stations. The freeway can never be blocked. Each piece on or arriving at a subway station may be immediately transferred to any other subway station for a count of 1 move. You may gain control of property in one of 3 ways: seizure, purchase, assassination. The first piece to move into a business property controls that property as long as it stays there. Assassination. By assassinating an opposing thug who has control of a business property, you would gain control of the property as well as eliminated one of your opposition. Payday for all players occurs when a white card marked payday is drawn by a player. Each player computes how much money they collect from the bank according to the number of businesses they control. For example, if you control all 6 bootlegging business locations, you would collect $2,000 when a payday card is drawn. 5 only pays $1,000, and 1 or 2 would pay nothing. Assassination attempts. At the end of your turn, you may call for an assassination attempt. When the intended victim is on the street, you must position 1, 2, or 3 of your pieces on street spaces or the property immediately adjacent to, but not diagonal to, the intended victim. When the intended victim is on the freeway or in a property, you must position 1, 2, or 3 of your pieces in the same space that is occupied by the intended victim. The more assassins you have in position, the more likely it is that the attempt will succeed. As you would expect, a 3-on-1 assassination attempt has much better odds than a 1-on-1 assassination attempt. Roll the dice and consult the outcome of assassination attempts chart for the result. After an assassination attempt, any dead pieces are removed from the board. Several assassination attempts may occur during one turn if a player can position his or her assassins properly. The outcome of each attempt is determined separately by another roll of the dice. When the intended victim is a mob boss, at least 2 thugs must participate. 1 thug cannot attack a mob boss unaided. MOBopoly is an exciting and action-packed game, and while luck is a factor, money is power, it's a game of strategy and timing. And look for some humor as well. The game